What do we need to know?
Well, first of all, they are accused of trespassing and damaging property and of having formed a criminal organization. And we argue that none of this is true, that they're actually in compliance with international law. They're actually they have the right of self-defense for a third party, here the population of Gaza. And the company they attacked or they made their action in, Elbit Systems Germany, is actually working together with Elbit Systems Limited to further the genocide, and they actually are the criminals that should be accused.
So it sounds like this case is much bigger than just defending 5 people.
It is. It is. I think it's. We want to, in this court process, we want to disclose the role of Germany and Elbit Systems in this genocide and argue why what our clients did was justified.
Now that is a political question, it's a moral question, but for you as a lawyer, that's a legal question. So tell me, how do you argue that legally using the tools of law that you have in Germany?
In Germany, we have what's called Völkerstrafgesetzbuch. That's there we have all the international law. The international war crimes are actually also a crime of German law. So if you're a German citizen and you're committing genocide, then you have actually committed a crime by German law also. And then the same rules apply like any other criminal case. You have somebody that commits a crime, you have somebody else that wants to stop it, and then you have to ask yourself the normal questions of self-defense and whether it's justified.
So it sounds a little bit like you are both a defense lawyer for your client, but also prosecuting Elbit and maybe even the state of Germany at the same time. Is that an accurate way to understand this case or what you're trying to do?
A very powerless prosecutor, but yes, that's what we're trying to do.
Compared to other cases you've had, other experience you've had, how does this case compare? Is this normal for you?
This is not normal for me. It's my first time in Brussels. The point about the legal procedures. I'm not a fan of German legal system. We always had terrorism cases. I have defended Kurdish activists who are accused of being members of the PKK, and I always found this wrong. But this case still is, even compared to those cases, special. I never had a case where I had 5 young people accused only of one action, accused only of damaging property, and then being presented in this way, behind barbed wire, behind fences, behind glass boxes. I remember a PKK terrorism case in Stuttgart I defended, sitting right next to my client, no glass box, no heightened security. Because why? It was an old man doing politics in Germany, and so for everyone it's clear you don't need that kind of security. Here they don't even ask, do we need that kind of security? They just want it because of this case, because they make it a political case. It's not us making it political, it's the court making this a political case.
I mean, even Beate Schäfer of the NSU got to sit next to her lawyer in plain clothes without being arrested. I mean, she was correct, a hardcore neo-Nazi terrorist. I'm curious, what do you see in this case that many other people, your colleagues maybe, other people in Germany, might disagree with you?
Well, I think that's the basic nature of a defense lawyer, that this is in accordance to international law. The German government is not, and well, that is the time of defense lawyers, when the state does something and you have to fight against that for moral and legal proceedings. So it was pretty clear for myself that when I heard about this case, when they were taken into custody, that yes, of course, I'll take this case. I didn't think 1 second about it. The German state says, are you on our side or are you against? They're trying to paint the pro-Palestine movement and the Palestinians, of course, as animals, as irrational, as the enemy that needs to be fought against, that does not need to be recognized as another human being with legal rights. And well, that again makes me as a defense lawyer very angry, and makes us want to fight this and correct this, that they at least get the same rights as everybody else in Germany.
People who are watching this case, what can we expect next?
Well, we do know what we are planning. We are planning to hear genocide scholars. We are planning to hear doctors who have been in Gaza about the situation. We are planning to deliver evidence, because we have actually made research that the district attorney hasn't. We have contacted arms experts. We have contacted people who know the business. and we know what Elbit does. We know what parts they send to Israel. We know what how they are researching technology that is being used in the genocide. And we will force the court to hear all this evidence and then decide whether or not they can actually hold up the charges they did. What the outcome of this will be, well, we are skeptical, since the court already has shown that they don't care about the rights of the accused, but we will fight nonetheless.
How do you feel about German justice, German rule of law, transparency, these kinds of legal and democratic questions? How does it make you feel as a German citizen, as a lawyer, as someone who lives in Germany?
Well, I'm not surprised, since I think political reasons, especially in political cases, will always bend the law, sometimes break the law. Judges always feel the pressure. There is direct influence. I mean, justice system isn't neutral. And in my opinion, the state itself isn't neutral. But that's another question, maybe. But still, I have a heart for the law, and I have a heart for equality in the law. And I have a heart for arguments. And what frustrates me the most about this court is that I don't get arguments. They are saying they are a danger. We need to put them behind glass because the situation is so emotional. They don't see what happened before. Was there an emotional situation before? How did they handle that? They don't ask themselves that kind of question. And I fear that the court verdict in the end will be very superficial, also with all these questions, genocide, support by Elbit systems. They just will say one sentence, no arguments, and that's the court verdict. That's my fear, and that hurts my soul as a lawyer, not just as a person, as a human, as a political person, but as a lawyer, and that really makes me angry.